Your team just lost, again. Second loss in the group stage, 2 defeats, 1 draw, dead last in points, and somehow you're still in the tournament. Somehow you're celebrating. Somehow the team that finished third just qualified for the knockout rounds of the World Cup. Nobody told you this was possible. Nobody told most people this was possible. Here's the part that breaks everyone's brain on first contact with this format. For decades, finishing third in your group meant going home. Pack the bags, thank the fans, see you in 4 years. That was the rule, and it was simple, and everybody understood it. Then the World Cup got bigger, and simple stopped being an option. Think of the group stage like a job interview process with way too many candidates and not enough chairs. 48 teams show up. 12 groups of 4. Everyone interviews 3 times. Under the old system, only the top 2 from each group got hired. 24 jobs, clean and final. But this tournament needed 32 hires, not 24. And that gap had to come from somewhere. That somewhere is the third-place teams, all 12 of them. The teams that finished neither first nor second in their group get thrown into one giant pool and ranked against each other across the entire tournament. The best 8 of those 12 get a golden ticket into a brand new round called the Round of 32, a stage of the World Cup that has literally never existed before this tournament. So how do you rank 12 teams from 12 completely different groups who never played each other against one criteria? You start with points, 3 for a win, 1 for a draw, 0 for a loss, same as always. Whoever has the most points sits higher in the third-place pecking order. If teams are tied on points, the next tiebreaker is goal difference. How many more goals you scored than you allowed? Still tied, total goals scored, still tied after that. It comes down to a fair play score based on yellow and red cards, and after that, FIFA's own world ranking going into the tournament. This is the moment to flag something most fans get wrong immediately. Goal difference here isn't about your performance in one big game, it's about your entire group stage. A team that wins one match 9-0 and loses the other 2 by a single goal each can leapfrog a team that won narrowly twice and lost once. The math doesn't care how dramatic your wins felt, it only cares what the scoreboard says at the final whistle. If you're already doing mental math, trying to figure out whether your team's chances depend on some other group's result happening in a city you've never been to, the like button is right there. It won't simplify the math, but it'll make me feel slightly better about explaining it to you. Genuinely, drop your team in the comments, and I'll tell you exactly what their realistic path through this looks like. And if nobody has explained this format as clearly as this before, which statistically they haven't, subscribing means you get it explained again next time something confusing happens. Now here's where this format gets genuinely strange, and where most broadcasts lose viewers entirely. The exact opponent a qualifying third-place team gets in the round of 32 depends entirely on which group they came from. Not their ranking, not their record, their group letter. FIFA pre-built a matrix of every possible combination of which 8 groups produce a third-place qualifier, and each combination locks in a different bracket of opponents. Until every single group has finished all 3 rounds of matches, nobody, not the teams, not the fans, not the broadcasters, knows who's actually playing who in the next round. This isn't a glitch in the system, it's the price of fairness. The alternative would be ranking third-place teams and then assigning opponents purely by seed, which sounds cleaner until you realize it could force 2 heavyweight nations who were never even in the same group to face off in the very first knockout round, while a softer bracket opens up elsewhere by pure chance of geography. FIFA's matrix approach spreads that risk evenly. It's complicated specifically because the alternative was unfair, and unfair always finds a way to be the simpler-sounding option. There's also a strategic wrinkle nobody mentions until it's too late. Teams have started treating their third group match differently once they realize a draw might be safer than a reckless attempt at a win if a draw secures enough points to make the third-place cut, while a risky loss could eliminate them outright. This is exactly the kind of game within the game that group stage math always seems to invent, no matter how many tiebreakers you add to prevent it. And here's the part that should make you feel better about your team's third-place finish rather than worse. This format isn't just generous on paper, it has produced champions before. Portugal finished third in their group at Euro 2016, advanced purely on a goal difference tiebreaker, and went on to win the entire tournament. Ivory Coast barely survived their own group at the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations as the weakest of the third-place teams, even firing their coach mid-tournament, and still lifted the trophy at the end. Finishing third was never the end of the story. It was just a worse-than-usual Chapter 1. So go back to that job interview. 24 candidates got hired on the spot, no questions asked, but the remaining 8 seats didn't go to whoever simply showed up. They went to whoever performed best across every interview room in the building. Judged against strangers they never even met. Your team finishing third was never a failure. It was just an interview that got reviewed by a much bigger committee. That's the whole shape of it. Lose twice, draw once, and you can still be playing in the second week of the tournament as long as the right numbers line up in rooms you weren't even in. Soccer didn't get fairer by accident. It got fairer because somebody finally did the math.